We've been talking about Aristotle's logos, ethos, and pathos. So let's talk about pathos, emotional appeals. When we look at emotional appeals, we realize that these are very, very persuasive and can lead to very powerful speeches. When we look at emotional appeals, we're appealing to our listeners' feelings, their needs, their desires, and their wants. And so as a result, many times when we start thinking about emotional appeals, we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs starts as a little triangle, and it has different levels all the way up the triangle. And Maslow said that we start at the bottom of the triangle, and we try to work our way up through the levels of needs. And so Maslow's hierarchy of needs starts at the base level with physiological needs. These are our basic needs for survival. So think food, water, air, shelter. Physiological needs are the very base needs that we have to survive. The second level, once those are met, are safety needs. When we look at safety needs, we're really looking at, can I keep my shelter safe? Can I keep the people I want inside and the people I don't want out? What are the rules, laws, and policies that exist to protect me? Do I feel safe in my environment? That's what the safety level of needs looks at. After that, you have belonging needs. At the belonging needs level, we look at relationships, friendships, building connections with other people. The fourth level up is your self-esteem needs, how we see ourselves, bettering ourselves, taking different classes, learning new skills, or reading a new book, getting to know ourselves better. And then finally, the pinnacle, the very top level of needs, is self-actualization. Self-actualization, according to Maslow, is when you become the person you are meant to be. You feel fulfilled. You are who you want to be. And so when we develop speeches, we want to think about where is our audience on this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because if they're worried about shelter for the night, they're not going to be worried about the higher levels of needs. And so we want to meet people where they are to help move them up and to actually connect with what they are considering and view as being important. Just like with logos, emotional appeals, pathos, does have fallacies also. The first fallacy we have to look at is emotions as proof. Emotions aren't proof. Just because you're sad and having a bad day does not mean that the day is bad for everyone who exists out there. And so part of what we have to think about is that emotions can be persuasive, but they're not the base and the foundation of our argument. We also realize that sometimes people use emotional appeals as a diversion, as a way to distract or to take away from the fact that they haven't done their research and don't have logical reasoning present. And the last, but not the only, emotional appeal is appeals to pity. When we use appeals to pity, it's when you're trying to get help from someone else because you can't do it yourself, you haven't been able to do it yourself, or you're really trying to get the other person to just pity you. When we use appeals to pity, it might work the first time. It may even work the second time. But once you get to the third time, the fourth time, or even the fifth time, instead of people feeling sorry for you and feeling pity and wanting to help, people feel frustrated and aggravated because you're not doing it yourself. As we use pathos, these emotional appeals in our speech, we know that if we can connect to people's hearts, they're more likely to listen. And so we want to develop emotional appeals. So think about, how do you want your audience to feel in your speech? Do you want them to feel encouraged, compassionate, angry, sad? When we think about the emotional appeals we want the audience to have, it helps us to develop pathos in our speeches.